Yo, what is going on? It is me, Jay Renard. Let me see if I can adjust this here camera a bit. And I can't. So this is all we got here. Let's see if I can get a little bit more of the. I cannot. All right, so we're going to work up here this time. All right, so we are going to be doing a single roper wallet, or get it ready to be stitched up rather, just like this one here is. Oh, side note, this one will be, hold up. This is why I hate the streaming from the camera, because the white balance just auto adjusts. Let me see if I can change things up here. Uh, all these different options, and I don't know how to work either one of. Oh, that's not gonna work. There we go. Hopefully that doesn't get too crazy. All right, so that's gonna stay out. That's for the glue, and for the for the roper, we're gonna kind of hybridize things real quick. So I'm gonna use the base template, this Tandy one here, and but honestly, I hate how sharp corners turn out for the ropers. So I'm going to use the corners from this template here from Make Supply. Actually, let me see if I got something smaller. I think I do. Yep, there we go. So I'm gonna use the corners from this one because this nice small radius is a little bit better. And oh yeah, I can't stop the white balance, but hey, we'll make it work. So I'm gonna give this here a small radius for these corners here. And for the notebook cover, I'm going to use the this here, the basis. This is the basis for what I'm going to be using. I'm going to make it larger, and I'm going to change the radius on the corners as well. I like these. However, for the notebooks that I use things with a different radius in the corner, and I like for this to go all the way in. And this one might fit, but the other notebooks that I use, you'd think I had them on standby already. The other ones that I use have, come on, they have a different radius on the corners. So I like for them to sit nice and clean in there. So I like to give this, I like to give this a little bit more space to fit in. So I will also be using this as a guide for the corners. And for the outside of said wallets, excuse me, said notebooks and wallet will be this piece here of Horween. So because this is where things were rolled up the most, this one here's got the most wear and use in it. The pull up is in effect the most. That's gonna be the notebook, the outside of the notebook. This one's gonna get used a whole bunch for The wallet, I'm going to use the more pristine side. So let's get it rolling. I don't need this interior piece right now. That will come later. I am going to need this later. This piece will get used for the second half. Normally, I'm down to start with a more complex piece first. And this is far more complex, but it's also bigger. So this one is going to be a significantly more simplified version of this here. So I'm going to give it the pockets here. So I'm going to give it four pockets up one side. I'm on the fence if I should go the same amount of pockets on both, but I'll make that decision once I start cutting, or once I'm about ready to start cutting. All right, so I want to be as judicious as I can with these pieces because Horween is not cheap. Let me see if I, oh, no maker's mark, lame. Or rather, I guess, Tanner's mark. Symbol, logo, I don't know what you call it. I love how this stuff looks and feels. And although this is a straight edge, I do want to mark it just for the sake of, just to remove all doubt. Cork back ruler. All right. Easy part done. Now we will line these bad boys up. I'm going to try to get closer. Actually, let's do this. I cannot remember for the life of me where I saw this technique, but I love it. See that? Four cuts. Nice corner. And if you want to take your time a little bit more, you can make a few more cuts if you believe that you will have a more accurate and rounded corner. And depending on your blade, for instance, can get in some of this action. Now, for the Japanese skiving knife, you can see that there's a, hopefully it'll focus. There we go. There's a slope to it right there. So one side is flat, come on. The other side has a slope. So you want the flat edge up against your guide. You'll just, come on. Nice rounded corner there too. And if you are the sort of person who wants to mark everything out, so instead of doing what I did, let's just say you had a piece where, oh snap, where the radius was already properly marked. And you would have it marked like so, and then just cut along the mark. Now, a little bit odd. I don't know if I kept my wrist perfectly straight when I cut that, but truthfully, once everything's already properly aligned for the inside, I'll be using a Dremel to true those edges up, so everything's fine. Now, this is a smart idea to either put away or cap your sharps so that nothing crazy happens while you are using them, or rather while you're not using them. All right, I'm gonna take this off camera real quick so that I can attach a stamp. For this one, I'm going to be very obnoxious and put the larger stamp on the outside. You normally, when just trying to be nice and fun and chill and conservative, I'll have this thing right there, but every now and then I'll just be obnoxious and put the logo really huge. But just want to verify, yep, was about to put it in the wrong corner, in the wrong orientation. So it's going to be there to allow for seam allowance. Let's do it. Seam allowance set. This is going to be off camera, but I'm putting it under my press. All right, so while that's in there, making sure that the press is nice and firmed in. Gonna break out the next piece. All right, so for those who haven't seen it or haven't used one like it before, these sorts of templates have multiple pieces in one piece. Yeah, I kind of want. Well, it doesn't. Well, since this is the front, it doesn't really matter which side is which. It won't matter until I put the stamp on it. Let's pretty it up a bit. Hashtag not sponsored. This is Chamberlain's Leather Milk. It's one of my favorites, honestly. Oh, wait. Before we get started, we need to update the changes for this piece here. All right, so those are the size of the notebooks that I like to use the most. I believe this is A6 in size, slightly larger than the field notes notebooks. But these are just a little too wide to fit this. So this one is about, I think, 9.5 inches long. Okay, no, so it's just about 9. So I'm going to extend that to 9.5. Whoa, way out of frame. So this is the 10-inch mark here, and this is just over 9. So I'm going to extend that about a half an inch to more easily accommodate this size. Maybe even 3/4 of an inch just to be safe. The height is fine. So this here, this space is just big enough for this. So all I've got to do is just shave down a bit. 1/8 of an inch on either side. Just fine. This will slip in there, no problem. Everything else will be just fine as long as I take off the appropriate amount here. Easy day. I don't need to make this larger. So let's get to it. I'm a huge fan of Chamberlain's Leather Milk. I've been using their stuff for years. So I like Formula 3, especially on certain types of leathers. It turns out really, really well. Hopefully that shows up on this camera as well as I'm seeing it in real life. See, if I could stream on my regular cameras, I would. I don't know how. I'm sure there's a way, but that's beyond my tech savvy level. This is one of the things that I still have to get used to. Or rather, I feel like I won't ever get back properly. That's applying things to hides or anything else for that matter with my right hand. It's been some years and I've tried different methods and nothing feels right The control just isn't there. It probably doesn't look like it, but it's hard to keep control of the sponge. But hey, it is what it is. I feel like this is just out of focus. No, no, all right. Oh, funny story time. So I was at this restaurant today, enjoying a nice set of ribs. It was good stuff, and I took the opportunity to get some market research in. So I asked the young lady who was tending bar at this establishment, because I had a piece I had finished recently, this one here. And so I showed it to her and I was like, hey, if you saw this at a store, what price would you think is an appropriate price for something that was, handmade and that size? And this girl said, well, it looks real nice. It's handmade. You can tell it's made from good leather, real leather. I was like, okay, okay. It's good stuff. Homegirl knows what real leather and what good leather feels like. So I'm like, okay. She said $15. And I'm glad that she was unable to see my heart shrinking. Because it hurt me so much mentally to know that this sort of work is valued by your average person at $15, even when they clearly know what good material looks like. I don't know if I need and a half, but you know what? Let's take it to 3/4. It's going to be off by a little bit because I'm marking the top of this as opposed to the bottom of this. I will reconcile those in a moment. Yep. Nine and 3/4. We're going to remove all doubt by utilizing a square. I wish that there was a such thing as a cork-back carpenter square. I have not seen one advertised anyplace. So, if you know where one is, let a brother know. Da, 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 da. Come on, stay on the line. Here we go. Back to this. Let's try the other one this time. See how this turns out. Oh snap, got someone in the stream. I feel special and accomplished. And they're gone. What happened there? That just feels like I think I dug in too much right there and it caught in the cutting board. Come on. I was trying to not use this method because I've been doing it so much, but it appears to be the most effective. The rocking. There we go. How? There we go. So I'm cutting these pieces because they will eventually become watch bands, just not on this stream. So more than enough seam allowance on this end, right size. All right, but to ensure that I have more than enough seam allowance, I'm going to use a thinner material for the inside. Got caught up talking. Happens a lot. Oh, come on, focus. All right. We'll leave it slightly zoomed right there. I seem to be getting the best focus out of that. All right. Same thing here. Again, usually I keep my logos inside or I keep them small. I'm being purposely obnoxious today, so here we go. All right. I have been using this hide here a lot for my interiors. I don't want to keep going back to the same well. However, I don't think I have any other interior slimmer, thinner colored pieces that go with this hide. So I'm gonna have to do both. Not looking forward to that, but hey. How can I best maximize this? That should work. Clear these out of the way. This white balance is terrible. Just gonna go with the sterile look. Better than nothing. All right, so I'm gonna go with this one here because with the notebook in here, this blemish here on the hide will be closed. This blemish here will be contained in the pen loop. I'm going to leave this here. I'm on the fence about turning this into a wallet. I'm not the biggest fan of making your notebooks wallets. Sorry for any heavy breathing that got caught on the stream there. Nine and 3/4. Should be right there. Let's remove all doubt. And a half, 3/4 there. So since we're here, we're just gonna try different methods of cutting everything out. We use the smaller blade, the larger round knife slash head knife. Now we're using the shears. I didn't say it earlier, I should have. This is kangaroo hide. It is a very, very tough leather. Sorry about that. I should have connected those two after I made that line. Come on. There we go. By far, one of the best tools I've seen for cutting, especially thin leather, are surgical scalpels. You can get them off of Amazon. However, if you don't want to wait, you can get them from regular medical supply stores. They are not very expensive. They are incredibly sharp. And as long as you maintain the edge of the blade, so make sure that you're stropping before and after use, stuff like that, it will, the edge of that blade will last so long. Technically, this was a little bit short on this end, but we're gonna round it off with this corner anyway, so that's almost the radius I'm looking for regardless. So no harm, no foul. But for everybody else, in the future, make better cuts. You know what's funny? As much as I use this blade for long straight cuts, you can cut curves just fine with this thing. You just have to be a little careful. All right, so this will be the right side of the journal as it's open, and this will be on the back side of the journal from the front, or from the front piece, and then this will be closer to this piece here will be on the opposite of what is the front side. Whoa, poor framing. So this side is where the pin loop will be. This side over here will be the back portion, having the piece for the notebook held on. So this piece is actually going to be a little longer. So it'll be held in. Says the book starts here, so it'll be held in about there. So so you can see how much of the notebook will be held in by the frame. So we're going to want that to be somewhere around here. Actually, wait. Seam allowance. It's going to be somewhere around here. So just going to slide that on over. Line it up. Now, even though there's a little bit of this slight overlap going on over here, this won't matter so much. The pin loop is gonna make the front of the notebook bulge a bit anyway because there's gonna be a pin there. Not a big deal. Now, if I were gonna include a spot for business cards or for a credit card or some such like that, depending on what it is that you're gonna keep your notebook for, there's more than enough seam allowance here if I were to just make this a flap. If I wanted to make this a whole pocket sewed on, this is not ideal because I'm losing a lot of real estate for the seam allowance on both sides. This would be a really, really tight fit. So if I choose to have that in there, I probably just cut out a flap so that the card could just sit in. I'll make that decision before we start stitching though. Until then, declutter the space. Shameless plug. I did this back in 2016 and I decided to repurpose it because I didn't want to throw it away. So I took it apart, made it into something else, cleaned up the edges, and now here I am, business card holder yet again. You know what? This is the perfect time for me to try and utilize my corner punch. It doesn't fit perfectly into the corner. I'm a little upset by that, but truthfully, it's still going to save me some time, so punch there. Punch there. Kind of can get away with doing the same thing here, honestly, because these will be tucked under. It is very odd still handling the mallets with my injury. even handling small blades like this, still really difficult. I don't really know how to explain it. Some things are just harder to do now. I have to teach myself to do something that I can't feel. And no matter how many times I keep trying, it never feels proper. It's going on 2 years and it's still a problem. I'm trying to make it not look like that. And I don't know if I'm succeeding. Oh, yep. I cut too far in. Now I gotta fix it. That's what happens when you cut while changing levels. Not very noticeable. We're gonna call that a lesson learned. Go slower. And don't cut while you're changing levels, just wait first. Sorry if my huge cranium is starting to show inside the frame. It's not intentional. I just want to make sure I'm getting the best possible cut. If anybody has any questions or comments or requests, let me know. I'm doing my best to monitor the chat, so please allow me some grace. Ah, thought I had it all cut out. Incorrect. Okay. All right, so notebook cover, Roper wallet. It'll look like so. This will be wrapped under for the pin loop. Matter of fact, let's just go on ahead and glue that now. So here is one thing that I keep forgetting, but I need to not forget anymore. So I want all these lines to be proper. So I want the stitch line here so that the stitch line is in line with this. So I gotta make sure that this extends just a smidgen over it. I'm gonna mark that. So this is my glue line. So, and this loop here is more than large enough for basically any other pen. Right. I don't want the glue to show outside of the glue line. Da, 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 da. And again, if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, or requests in the chat, let me know. As long as it's not something to the effect of, hey, destroy what you're making, I'll entertain it. Where's that piece? Here we go. So this here is cheating a little bit, but you know what they say, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. You only need this for the most of the length of the loop. And then that right there is where we will sew. So that's my stitch line. While we're here, I forgot to extend this a bit. So that's what we're gonna do. Align this properly. And then down a touch. And then this will allow me to correct this mistake of having that line right there come out. So we'll just extend that a bit. And that should fit just fine on the same side. No, I got glue on it. There we go. That will allow for the book to enter nice and properly. Nice and smooth, easy day. Remember, if you can use anything to make your corners crisper, do it. Make sure these are nice and properly aligned. Come on. That line up right. Put away. Put away. Watching lots of crafters, good ideas and tips and tricks if I can start making projects. Well, I'm glad that I can aid in some way. Lord knows I have learned the hard way enough So hopefully y'all don't have to. I mean, everybody's gonna learn their own. I guess everybody's gonna have their own mistakes, but hopefully I can make mine so that you don't have to make yours, or at the very least, you don't make my mistakes. Ah. See, I should have started from the piece that for the section that was cut, but no, I had to cut from somewhere else. That's called a mistake. All right, I'm gonna have to get closer. Sorry if you get my shiny forehead in there. Hold on, wait. Smart move. Put the glue away. Yeah. I'm glad I wasn't streaming back then. I absolutely had a glue spill mishap. We don't discuss those things in detail. Not because anything really bad happened, but yeah, my ego. My ego just not didn't recover well from that. That's what we in the industry call an unforced error. Nobody's mistake but mine. Let's clean this up. There we go. Yep. Leather is too pricey to waste. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, pro tip. Because this right here was some of the waste or whatnot. Little things like this, you're not going to get anything from these little tiny bits. But these pieces here, anything this size or thereabouts, they're useful for a lot of things. I mean, I could, if I wanted to, come on. All right, I could take this, and because there's enough seam allowance around it, take this, stamp into it, and then use this to practice inlays. Because this itself isn't very large, so if I just cut out some other large image, and I could take it and practice, turn it into inlay or accent pieces or anything like that. Value can be gained from the practice. So if you want to keep these for practice, that's great. Or if you want to keep them, especially if you're already good at inlays, just keep them for inlay pieces. Pieces that are like this, I use them for small liners for things or for liners for watch bands. They're far too thin to make watch bands out of, but they're great to be the liners underneath. But this is waste. That can be part of a watch band. That's why I'm keeping these strips here, because they'll go towards something. But in the interest of reducing the clutter, they're going in the scrap bin. All right, so this one is ready to be stitched up. You can see that slides in just fine. It'll be just like so. This is a really big area here. However, folds in, really nicely. Nice and smooth, easy day. So this is ready to go. All I need is one small stitch and then one long stitch, and we're good to go. Now comes the hard stuff. This piece here. So this will eventually look like this, minus the gator, obviously. This is a sold piece already. How do you feel about working with hair on hide? I got a beautiful rose gold hide with cream. Well, see, I was gonna say I don't like it, but what you just described sounds amazing. So I would work with that. The only hair on hide that I have currently is texture. Let me find it. Is this it? No, that's not it. No. Here we go. Right next to it. So you can see the back. Or actually, no, here it is right here. So this is a hair on calf skin. So it's got this reptilian snake texture to it. I love working with this. It looks great. It feels great. It's great as a liner. You can use it as accent pieces too. Thank you very much. I love it. I'm glad to say this one's already sold. I just have to wait for the guy to get me a set address. He has a crazy, crazy job where he's traveling a lot. And he has to let me know where he's gonna be so I can send it there so it'll meet him. It's really weird. But the interior is gonna look like this. Now, Gator, sometimes it's nice on the inside, sometimes it's not. This one wasn't, so I added a liner. So it's a little bit, just a little bit thicker than usual. This hide, I love it so much. That pull up is lovely. So I'm leaving it as is. It is a little, it is definitely thicker than most of the stuff I use for wallets, but the inside is really nice. It's got a nice split to it, nice napped feel. So I'm not going to add a liner to this. The downside is I don't have a die press for the interior pieces, so I got to cut them all by hand, which I don't enjoy. And the other interior piece for it that was intended was this. And you're supposed to use this nylon tape to form a bunch of pockets for this to fit in. One, I don't like that. Two, you're supposed to secure this with double-sided tape, and that's what holds the pockets together. No stitching. I don't think that's very solid or secure. I don't use this. I don't use this method. So what I do, if I can find these dang pieces, is I use this as a template, as a base template for these here. All right, so let me go put this away so that I can't mess up the sold piece. And much as I want to keep it, I'm going to utilize this one. Also, let me put this away. A sharp knife is a safe knife, but the safest knife is put away. I don't know why my drawer is not opening fully. Never mind, I see why. There we go. So, what we're gonna do is, actually, you know what? I misspoke. I do need this piece for a size reference. So I'm going to use this because it's already a nice straight edge. Bring it up against. So that width. And I should have marked the bottom. Damn it. going to use a different radius. So I don't like these sharp squares on my pockets. I'm sorry, on the corners of the pieces, because they'll get bent in. The bend will be more pronounced, and it looks honestly poorly made. Imagine a soft cover book after it's been used for a while and the corners are all curled in. I don't like that. I think this radius is too round. So we're just going to do this so that I have. Come on, there we go. So there's the bottom. Here's the top of the pockets. And yes, I'm adding extra steps, and I hate my life because of it. However, I'm going to get what I want on this end now. So, from the bottom of this, one, two, three. See where those are sitting so far. I want to make sure that I don't come so high up that the card sticks out the top. So if I give it another, let's see. Okay, yeah. Da-da-da-da. So I can get a fair amount of cards in here without the cards sticking up. So I've got bottom pocket, 1, 2, 3, 4 extra, so 5 pockets on each side. Actually, I just told y'all to cheat with your corners, and I was about to fail at cheating with the corners. So I love this corner punch here. These things are lovely. You get a nice proper angle on both sides and the radius that you're looking for. Tandy sells these in a bunch of different sizes, a bunch of different radii. I think that's a proper term. This one's a little bit harder to use because you have to make sure that this mark here is right at the very center of your corner. So if you're off a little bit, your corner is going to be all jacked up. This one, way better because you can just line up the sides and you have a 90-degree curve, 90-degree turn there. Right now, I wish I had another light, but I think I'm good. I feel like something's underneath that. There you go. Starting over. Da-da-da. Also, never cut straight edges like this, because if you go off a little bit with your hand, you're gonna cut into your piece. If you can help it, cut your straight edges like so. Let me check and see if anybody asked any questions. Uh, get an OTT light. They're fantastic and not hard for your eyes. I am not sure if that is a brand or a type of light, but I will absolutely Google and see what that is. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Yeah, right now I'm working with a ring light overhead, and then the regular lights that are in my room. Oh, I cut too far up. I can still make that work, but still lost sight of the thing. It's all good. When you own the company, you can make those mistakes. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I think I found the cheat code for the music. I just listened to lo-fi in the background. All right. I'm not looking forward to cutting 10 of these, 2 of these, and 8 of these. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. These things right here, the silver pins, these things are money. They're only a few bucks at Tandy. You can get them cheaper elsewhere, but Tandy's got them readily available. Not every place has them, which is surprising. Some fabric stores will have them, but not always. There's gonna have to be some creative sanding up there at the top. I was off by, I don't know, parts of a millimeter. But again, make it work. All right, now, if you mark the outline of something, when you cut, don't cut the mark that you made. You want to cut the size of whatever it is that you marked. So what I cut fit inside the silver, so I don't cut on the silver or outside the silver. I cut literally just on the inside. I am not looking forward to cutting these extra shapes, because they are going to be machine stitched. Nope. Let's just do this now. All right, so for those of us who grew up in the 80s and the early 90s, I'm sure we are all incredibly familiar with the video game Tetris. If you were any good at that game, or at the very least, if you're familiar with the principle of that game, you will be great at maximizing your patterns to ensure that you get the most out of it. For instance, doing this is going to get you nothing. Doing this, not so bad, but you want to make sure that you can do this and then the flip side, all the other good stuff. I can't do that by putting a piece right here, but if I start here, so I've got one piece that's going to go on the left side of the wallet, and I just make these and then flip them upside down over and over again, I can really maximize this. So for everybody whose parents said that video games wouldn't get them anywhere, well, let me tell you, being good at Tetris will save you some money in leathercraft. For anybody who is very young watching this, don't you dare cite me to your parents or your friends and family. You better make your own decisions. Stand by them. Don't drag me into your silliness. All right, so remember, I've got 4 of these pockets. Which thread do you like to use for my machine? So my current machine, I have a Sailrite Stitchmaster. For a couple of years, they had a collaboration with Tandy, so it's actually a Tandy Sailrite machine. It's pretty sweet too, because the machine itself, brand new, was only 1,500, and I got a military discount because I was active duty at the time. So including shipping, I paid about $1,500 for a brand new machine, which is more or less unheard of for a machine of that type. That machine uses a bunch of different thread, but where is it? This one is the one that it came with, the polyester thread. So this one, it's not stranded. It's not a bunch of threads wound together. It's actually just one long string of the polyester thread, so it won't come undone, which is pretty great. I have a bunch of other threads that the machine will use that are wound thread. Sometimes they'll fray or snap, or some of the parts will snap, and you have to stop the thing, rethread, all that good stuff. But the stuff like this, that's the singular polyester thread without the stranding. Fewer issues, fewer breaks, and no fraying. But the machine takes all different types, but this type right here, I've never had any problems with. All right, so 1, 2, 3, then 4. Just making sure that I didn't do anything silly like flip it over, because those will be for the other side. I'm just trying to maximize it. Yeah. Da-da-da. And that is pricey, although that was a few years ago, so you should be able to find some Sailrite Stitchmasters on the secondary market that are likely cheaper. Although, and I hate using this phrase, but in this economy, maybe folks will be selling it for more just to offset how inflation is pinching them. But truthfully, for a machine that was designed back in, I think, 2018, No one should be, and it was brand new, $1,500. Unless you're getting a brand new machine, you should not be paying more than say 1350 for a used machine that's in great condition. If someone's charging you more than that, uh, not to be pessimistic, but they're just trying to get over on you. I can't think of a reason anybody would charge more than 1350 for a used machine, and more than, and that's in great condition. Brand new. I mean, when they came out, they were 1,500. So maybe Sailright's still selling them for the same price, but don't pay more than 1,500 for this machine if you're gonna get a Stitchmaster. It's great. It's a flatbed, so if you're, it's good for most things. But if you're sewing larger bags or things that require curves into it, it's not good for it. Oh yeah, prices of some used machines are ridiculous. Um, I'd like to think that it's people just charging a higher price because inflation is pinching everybody. Unlike a lot of things that have inflated prices, I don't think people are doing it just for the sake of trying to squeeze other folks for some extra dough. But again, uh, when it was brand new, it was 1,500 bucks plus tax and all the other good stuff. So if you see a Stitchmaster for more than 15, that's not brand new. Respectfully decline to see if you can try to negotiate down, or get some extra stuff with it. You know, maybe some thread, or only pay that much if it's got the instruction manual, all that good stuff. To I'm actually really fortunate that there's a curve here that kind of follows the shape. I'm not losing too much space or too much material. So, Miss King, what sort of stuff are you planning on making? Or have you either not decided or just decided to sell a bunch of stuff? I guess technically there's no wrong answer as long as you love it. Yeah, that should work. See, I tend to cheat when I'm using exotics. Not really cheat, but I'll do a little bit extra. So the bottom pocket for the piece would be the same as the material on the inside. But I started looking at other stuff on the market, and almost nobody else was doing that. And I realized I was just cutting tiny pieces out of my exotic hide for no reason, because the customers weren't asking for it. So I ended that practice mostly because uh, actually, let me just do this now. Then I'll cut them out more precise once they're separated from the hide here. Da-da-da-da. I am not liking this lo-fi right now. It got really, really slow. Need something with some upbeat juice to it. Uh, yeah, gotta pull from this side. Making some bags. He uses a project bag for knitting, crocheting, maybe some pocketbooks and notebook. Nice. Okay, making it and a watch strap from Apple. Yeah, yeah. So those are great, actually. Hold on 1 second. So this was made years ago. I upcycled a Louis Vuitton bag, lined it with I think pigskin suede. Um, I foolishly used a design that was a little bit smaller than my Apple Watch, and uh, this opening was just really, really small. I don't like how it turned out, but it's crazy useful. I like it. It feels good, but I feel like there should be a little bit more material here on the side. It just feels, I don't know, maybe I'm just beating myself up, but it just feels flimsier. But especially now, these adapters are super easy to come by. You can get them at Tandy, you can get them on Etsy, all over the place. Here's something silly that I just came up with a little while ago. Actually, a good while ago. Got the pink gator strap there. And another one. I can't find the other piece. It turned out really, really good. It was I love the alternating color stitching, and I cannot find the other piece like this. I'm so mad. I bet you as soon as I move in some years, it's going to be right someplace easy to find. But yeah, the Apple Watch straps, those things, it's oddly a really, really good thing to make. But the hardest part is this here, because the piece that comes with your Apple piece, the original one, the that latex rubber one, it's not very big, but it's crazy sturdy. If you make it out of leather, you got to make the edges a little bit wider than how it comes from the one that's made out of Apple, so that you have some material on either side, because it's gonna get a little bit more worn. That rubbery latex stuff, it's crazy tough. So you're gonna need a little bit more meat on the sides whenever you cut the piece out for your Apple Watch piece later. Yeah, so there you go. A lesson I learned the hard way that you don't have to. You move this closer to the edge. I'm trying to maximize this without ruining everything. Yeah, I think this is it. Oh yeah, like a regular strap. Truthfully, that's a little bit better, although it is strangely more material, including, of all things, something that's a 1/4 inch wide. This is actually a piece of a pattern for a watch strap. You're gonna need two of those little tiny things to serve as keepers. One that's fixed to the watch and one that's floating. Damn it! And this is why you don't do these things and talk at the same time. Oh yeah, a keeper is. Hold on 1 second. So, a keeper is the part of the watch that keeps the watch strap in place. This one is, this is a terrible example. Sorry I kept you waiting. All right, so here's a better example. This is one of my favorite watches. I love it so much. I'm a watch enthusiast. So this is the Orient Sun and Moon. Really great watch. Runs really, really well. Has this all the stuff in there. But this is a deployant clasp. So you take it out, pop it open, and you adjust the size. But this little thing in here, so you have these are the keepers. So you have a fixed one that's attached on the inside, and a floating one that moves up and down the band of the watch that will hold the rest of the strap in place. So clip it in, tuck that in there, and then if there's any excess, the floating clasp keeps it in there. I have a pretty big wrist, so this is about as much as gets contained by the keeper. For people who have much smaller wrists, the watch will be closed more. So, bam. Oh yeah, it's called a deployant clasp. I love how it looks because it's a little bit of extra security. If for whatever reason the clasp fails or breaks or something like that, uh, like say this pops off and whatnot, or it just doesn't work or something knocks your hand, and somehow this comes undone, it still stays attached. Then you can just put it back on, or you can easily take it off and see what the deal is. But so that's a deployant clasp. I'd say most watches have it. Even so this is the Timex. Lord, don't get me started about watches. I'm a watch guy, but these have it too. I like this one because it has this little notch here, this little tab, or rather, a notch and a tab, and it stays in place. So it's not going to slide up and down and possibly come out and have the end of the watch flapping around. So when you make your watch, you have two options: either a fixed keeper and a floating keeper, or just make one that's really wide, say about maybe half an inch or thereabout. A wider one, or maybe even one that's say an inch wide, and you want to do some custom, some decorative cuts, or some some stamping or whatever on there. One that's pretty wide will stay in place really, really well. I've done both. This one I made because I was bored on duty one day on the ship. Cut the strip. I repurposed these pieces from other stuff that I had. I wanted to make this out of metal. All of the keepers out of metal, but I didn't have it, so I just cut some strips out of the hide that I had and made some keepers. Put them too close together and didn't realize it until after they were all sewed up. So now I have one keeper that kind of floats and one that's in place. And this is one of those lessons learned, but turned out pretty well, so I like it. All right, so I'm going to have to just accept the fact that this piece here on the left side is going to have an extra mark that in general the stitching will cover, but I'm still going to be upset about it. All right, let me stash these off to the side. And if you want later, we can have a discussion about watches. If I have two passions, it is leather and watches. All right, so left side, now right side. Really want to maximize. There we go. Thank you, Tetris. Let's see if I missed anything. Scraps come in handy. I'm making keychains right now. So, oh yeah, and oh yeah, I've repurposed so many scraps into various different things. Keychains are awesome, largely because most people like having extra little baubles and whatnot. Hi, Hero Fix. Yep. Da 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 da. Come on. Come on. You learn this skill in kindergarten. Don't mess it up. Especially not on the stream. I cannot remember the name of my kindergarten teacher, even though I used to. But shout out to her. I think I remember the name of most of my teachers. I got a sweet spot for them. I love knowledge, love education. And as I got older, I realized how incredibly tough it is to be a teacher. And especially in the places where I grew up, there were people who knew education was important for things to get better, but still never took it seriously. And the teachers were kind of stuck taking the blame for a lot of the results. And the truth of the matter is, you can't make people want to learn. You can present all of the information as well as you can, try to make it interesting and everything, but those students, and to a larger extent, their parents, they have to want that knowledge. And for the parents, they have to want to encourage that curiosity in their kids. And, there's only so much teachers can do. And Lord knows they are doing a bunch. They're trying harder and harder. So, shout out to all the teachers out there. And if anyone is familiar with the poem, What Teachers Make by Taylor Molly, if you haven't heard of it, please go listen to it. If you have, listen to it again. Tell a friend. If you know somebody who's a teacher or is a retired teacher. Yes, it does. It does take a village. If you know somebody who's a retired teacher, uh, get them some Starbucks or something. You know, do something nice for them. Please let there be a decent enough radius, otherwise I've really screwed myself. It is not looking great. That sucks. Now I'm gonna have to put the same radius on everything. Oh well. That'll teach you a lesson to pay attention more when you're doing stuff. Oh well. You know what they say, before grace comes humility. All right, now I showed this earlier. I'm not sure if people were there. So you see this mark here that came from the scratch all. So you can, if you want, I was involved with the kids, still friend. Very nice, very nice. All right, so this radius here, you can, if you feel comfortable with your knife skills, try and cut this curve. I have found that just cutting straight lines along said curve gives you a great curve. There you have it. And that works if you have the curve marked, or if you, come on, if you have the pattern up against, make sure it's on there solid. If you have the pattern up against it, same thing, straight line, straight line, straight line. Nice and smooth curve from just straight lines. Nice and smooth, easy day. Now, if you want to see something ridiculous, let's do something ridiculous. So I'm going to use this knife here to cut around this here. Because why not? This is what you call overkill. Can you with leather get that mark out? Possibly. Depends on which mark. I do not know. I am not the woodworker. Truthfully, that is a skill that my dad has that I never got. That man is a wizard with so many different mediums. Do metalwork, woodwork, masonry. Not leather though. It's weird. He tried. Seems like I'm the leather guy in the family. Yeah, I guess I inherited the craft affinity from my dad. This guy needed a rack for all his computer stuff because it was sitting on the table, and my other mom, because he had remarried, that table was a gift to her from when her grandmother passed away. She inherited that, and the saint though she is, she was really, really upset that this beautiful table was being used just to store computer parts. So he, so as much as she lived with it, she very politely asked him to do something with these computer parts because that table was intended for the family get-togethers, the actual big family events. And my dad, knowing damn well he was in the wrong, said, "Give me a couple of days." So we went to Home Depot, bought some wood and some sliding racks, and inside of 2 days just built a cabinet that gave him what he wanted. So that's how I grew up. Why pay somebody to do it when I can do it myself? Shout out to my pops. Still doing the same damn thing. Guy's doing masonry work right now. All sorts of stuff. Certainly old enough to retire. Has earned it, honestly, but can't stop working. This is true. Some people do just love to keep busy. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have something to do. Probably drink, but not as in, oh man, I'm just gonna go and get smashed. Been wanting to try out different whiskeys and various things like that. You know, just get a feel for these things. Go and taste a bunch of different tequilas and have various different wines. Try crazy foods. Very much idle hands. If it wasn't for the fact that I am 42 and have no business engaging in sparring with guys young enough to be my kids, I'd probably join a boxing gym or something. But there aren't any close by, so there's that. I'm a member of a regular gym, keeps me nice and physical. There's also a park close by. I've heard of that subscription whiskey thing. Kind of want to give it a shot. But, I mean, I live in Texas, so I think Texas is one of the states that you can ship alcohol to. Surprisingly, I think maybe half the states, if not fewer than, you can't ship alcohol to. Or rather, regular folks got a wine subscription. I've heard of those too. I've seen one. Your average everyday Joe can't just order hard alcohol to their homes, even though those wine subscription places only applicable in certain states. If you haven't been, Napa in Napa County in California has some outstanding wineries and spa places. You can get the go for a weekend stay, get the spa treatments and the wine tastings and all the other stuff. Weirdly enough, I mean, obviously stuff's expensive because it's in California, but the last time I was there, the Napa prices for things were not anywhere close to the San Francisco prices for things, which is surprising because Napa is much further away. You can't stand wine. Understandable. When people would tell me, "Oh, wine's an acquired taste," the first few that I had, I just did not like at all. Not really repulsed, but just didn't see anything good from it. Then my buddy had suggested this one brand, Duckhead. He was like, "Trust me, you'll love it." So I was like, "All right, fine." And it was good. It was really good. I've bought several bottles since then. Not very expensive, really easy to drink, tastes good. I've tried other wines since then. Some of them, most of them, I can take it or leave it. But I've had a few that were just really, really good. Not to throw shade at Tandy, but these little shears that I got here from Tokyu Hands in Yokohama, Japan. Tokyu Hands is the local craft store chain. These are way better than anything Tandy sells so far as the shears. These little things cut through easily up to 5 ounces. Then the same company makes these larger leather shears, and things are money. I made sure I brought a couple of pairs back with me because I didn't want to buy Tandy stuff again. Sorry, Tandy. Please sponsor me, just not for the shears. I'm not gonna endorse the shears to anybody. Them things are just not good. Side note, Seiwa, the same company that makes Tokonol, if you can tell from the name, they're based out of Japan, and they make a whole bunch of other materials too. Their stitching irons, top notch. Love them. Although I do gotta say, they do make their holes a little bit big. Look, the Randy scissors. They might be. Hold on. Oh, come on. Got two chats at the same time. So that blemish on the leather will be hidden. Oh, yeah. Some of them won't. And truthfully, that's a little bit unfortunate. But also, I don't know. I'm a little bit too influenced by Japanese philosophy sometimes. There's a thing that's called wabi sabi, and it's the beauty in imperfections. That's a drastic oversimplification, poor translation. But long story short, things that are perfect are a little bit unnerving. Just imagine somebody who's incredibly beautiful. Sure, you might be drawn to them, but you'll also be put off by how perfect they might be. So wabi sabi is beauty in imperfect things. So that's why I don't mind using things that are a little bit weird. So I don't mind this little mark there and that stuff there and these things here because it shows that this came from something that had some sort of life interaction, so forth and so on. Please note, don't just take that on. That is going to be a hard sell a lot of times. People do want like blemish free, perfect things. You know, especially if they're going to spend their hard earned. You are going to come across people like that. But in general, I think people appreciate that nothing's perfect. So I don't mind little things like this. Matter of fact, somewhere I have a wallet that I purposely made because there was a brand mark in it, and I made a piece from it. I liked how it looked. I liked that huge imperfection surrounded by basically pristine, smooth skin. So I was like, you know what? I like this. It's a neat little juxtaposition. Da-da-da. All right, let's do this. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these, and then attach. You know, when I'm done, when I'm ready to glue these pieces on here, I'm going to leave this as it is, and then stitch around, and then cut down around the radius there. I'm not going to change the radius on this piece until it's ready. I hate this so much. So much tedium. Let's see if I missed anything. I wish that there was a way to just keep the chat up because it always fades. When if y'all haven't already, when you start streaming on YouTube, or rather, if you're streaming on YouTube only, when you are, whoa snap, the when you pick a chat, or like when somebody first puts one up, it'll show up and it'll fade after about maybe 6 or 7 seconds, and you have to tap the screen and go to chats and pick live chat again. 3. It's a pain. Hashtag first world problems. 4, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, bet. Now for the fun stuff. Again, love these so much. These and the silicone ones. As long as you don't lose them, you're solid. Da-da-da. Remember, a little goes a long way, especially with the glue. Shit, which one did I grab? This one. But enough about me yammering and yammering and yammering. What y'all been up to? How was y'all's weekend? Did you go anywhere, do anything? I had a farmer's market on Thursday. What about y'all? Any markets and that sort of stuff going on? Let me make sure I didn't mess that up. Yep, just gotta make sure I only stitch right there. Working on a couple. Sweet, sweet. Knitting and crochet projects. All right, now, for the ignorant among us, what is the difference between knitting and crochet? I was under the impression that they were the same thing and that the term was just interchangeable. Kind of just depends on where you're at. Some folks call it knitting, some folks call it crochet. But you said it as if there were differences. Ah, yeah. Yeah, the last one I went to, I found out about it in December, and the one I went to on Thursday was the last one that they were going to have in that area for the year. So they have it in the fall and winter months. Knitting is with two long needles. Okay. It can be replicated on a machine. I have heard of knitting machines. Never seen them work. Crochet is with one. What? Wait, wait. Is crochet the one where you do, where I've seen people and they have like a hook and they're doing a thing? That okay. I think I've seen that. See, I'm fascinated by it, and a bunch of ads for those tools pop up on my Instagram timeline all the time. I've never knit or crocheted a day in my life, but those things pop up all the time. I saw this one company, and I might tell because I know my grandmother. I believe she knits, and actually she might do both. So I'll ask her before I buy the thing. But it was a ring that you run the thread through so that you don't have to hold it, and it'll stay there. And I think you have to maintain tension. But it made it so that it was ergonomic and easy on the hand. So you're just doing your work with the one with the needle. Looked really really cool. So I'll you know what if I'll ask my aunt because my grandmother's staying with her right now, and if it turns out that she does both, then I'll just get the ring for her, and we'll call that a random present from the grandson. And if it's the knitting, then I'll just get her some nice yarn, something unique like from a special sheep or something. There are so many sheep and goat farms here in Texas. I'm sure there's something I could find someplace. Mostly for color work. Okay. Yeah, I met a young woman who does macrame, and I was like, oh, well, and I know that it's different, but I didn't know really what it was, and so she showed me what she made. So you need to make those hangers for plants. So Vogue Knitting Live is happening. Oh, nice. Okay, so I have been streaming for a bit, and I'm not going to bore y'all with the stitching because that's a little crazy. But what we've got going on here is some of this action right here. So it'll be like this with this Horween here. Be kind of chunky, nice and sturdy. I live here in Texas, and the Roper wallet is pretty popular. So I'm pretty sure if once I'm done, I post it on Facebook Marketplace, it should do pretty well. This one here, I know you're not supposed to utilize your own stuff, but man, let me tell you, I really want a new notebook for my karst stone notebook. So I might keep this one. We'll see. All right, now I've got Miss King and Beards Brothers. If I believe are y'all are the ones who are here. I can't see who all is still remaining. I can only see who's in the chat. But Miss King, if you follow me on Instagram, shameless plug. There I go, right there. Right. So message me on Instagram, both of y'all, and I will fire off something to y'all because that's what I do on my streams. Sometime I knock out some giveaways. This one here is ready to go. This is a calf skin, so I just need to stitch this one. This one's going to be done by hand. These ones are going to be machine stitched. So Miss King, I'll shoot this one over to you. If you want to keep it, great. If you want to give it to somebody else, also great. Beard's brother, what do I have present here that I could sling your way? What do I got? Uh, Everything I got is in my truck because I put everything away for that dang uh, farmer's market except this one. This is one of my older pieces that I still have. I had this long before. I made this long before I ever designed this. So long before this ever came into fruition, this logo here, I put this together. I made it at my friend's place when I went to go visit her way back in, I think it was 2016, early 2017. This is Elephant, and it's yours if you want it, brother. It's an old school one. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie. You can tell because this was back when I was still using the crazy thick, much wider thread. I am emotionally attached to this. I don't think I've ever tried to sell it, but it's just sitting in my shop, and I think it should go to someone. So if you want this, let me know. If you want something else, I can shoot you something else that I have made in the shop. Or if you think of somebody else who might benefit from some piece that I got, this one or something else, again, hit me up in the Instagram DMs. Probably not tonight because I am going straight to sleep and I won't read it. But yeah, thank you very much for chilling out with me while I randomly talk about a bunch of crazy stuff. And next time I'm doing this stuff, especially if it's something that I'm going to be hand stitching, then I'll be asking the chat for inputs. You know, what color, what style, what design. Should I stamp things into it? Should I not? Should I should I break out the kitten stamp and the paw prints or not? Those sorts of things. But maybe in the next stream. But yeah, in the so when you message me, just let me know your address or the address of where you want me to send it, and I'll try to knock it out within a week. I have a bunch of stuff going on with contractors coming over, but I will do what I can to hop over to the post office to get these things out. Sending you a message. All right, sweet. And if you don't want this, if you want it to go to someone else or some other place, let me know, and then I'll send that one to them, and I'll put on the card, care of Charlene. All right. Oh wait, before y'all leave, please, hit the like button. I think this is the first time I've ever said that. Please hit the like button so that the Instagram, the YouTube gods know that at least one or two people like what I'm doing, and I don't know how they task direct recommendations, but hey, one like's better than no likes. All right. Thank y'all very much for your time and attention. And I'm Jay Renard, and I'm out. Peace.